97.1 FM Talk Podcast.
Welcome to Wellness Matters with Dr. Eric Nepute.
Right on. Hey, welcome to Wellness Matters, everyone. This is your host, Dr. Eric Nepute, and it is Sunday, 3 p.m. We just found out that our rock star call-in doctor actually got a chance to call in. We were going to be missing him today, but he's decided to call in. He's ready to rock with us, so we're excited. We got Dr. Billy DeMoss, literally last minute, found out he was coming, which is great. So, hey, for those of you that it's the first time listening to the show, my name is Dr. Eric Nepute. And this is Wellness Matters. By trade, I am a doctor of chiropractic. And, this show really originated out of complete frustration, to the fact that, man, as a society, we are just so misinformed and flat out lied to when it comes to so many areas of life. Look at the last week, the things that have happened with the IRS scandal that's going on and the NSA scandal that's going on. And so what we're doing is we're bringing to the airwaves, to the masses, info that people need to know that can help elevate their life and elevate their health because, health is the most important value that a person can have. And if you don't agree that that's true, talk to anyone that's lost that value or lost that asset. And they'll tell you, I would do anything, give any price, pay anything to get this done. And so that's why we're here, and every Sunday we're here. I've got in studio with me Ryan, who's our jack of all trades, master of a few.
Hello.
And then we've got our producer Kane, who's always chiming in with some great tidbits as well.
Hello.
So this week we're really excited and blessed to have this guy on the program with us. I, have tried to get him on a few times. He's a good friend of mine. This guy literally is a rock star. His name's Dr. Bill DeMoss, and Dr. Billy D is what he's known as in my profession. And the guy literally travels the globe changing people's lives, man. This dude is
Big
legit.
time.
He's phenomenal. He's an unbelievable speaker, presenter. His passion is crazy. If you really wanted to keep up with his passion and his energy, you need a whole case of Red Bull and who knows whatever kind of stuff to do so. I mean, who knows what's going to come out of our mouths today. But I know that he's calling us in from California. He's a Cali boy. And, we're going to get him on the program and get rocking in just a second with him. But one of the things that I wanted to bring up was I want to make sure everyone, listen, the big point of this whole program is to get the message out that you can have health and have life and have it more abundantly. I get questions all the time from our listeners and from people in the community and patients of ours that say, Doc, I've got this condition or this syndrome or whatever symptom you may have. People need to know that it doesn't matter what it is that you've been told you have. If you find out how to find the cause of that and fix it, you can. You know what I mean? Just to give you an example, Kane, you gave me a call. What day was that you were having some issues?
That was actually a week ago today.
Was it a week ago?
A week ago today. Yeah, it was ironically after the show, after I got home, after last week's show, and just clean out my car. I do live broadcasts with my other station and all this stuff. So I was grabbing a bag that had some cables and mics in it and stuff, and just leaned over.
Yeah.
Grabbing the bag to grab it out of the back of the car, and it was just, I heard it, felt it, the whole nine. It was a complete slip.
Yeah, so what he had done was he had re-injured an old injury that he had suffered years ago.
Yeah, back in 2008 in a car accident, right?
Yeah, and we're talking some substantial, serious pain. I mean, if he calls me on a Sunday and says, hey, Doc, I've got some serious issues, we're talking like 10 out of 10, excruciating pain, mess type stuff. Stuff to the point where you're afraid that, man, should I go to the hospital? Should I go to the urgent care?
Yeah, it was that bad. And there was a point where, using your recommendation, which took the pressure off the lower back, which is put your legs up, lay on a flat surface, to the point where when I went to move from that position, I couldn't do it.
Wow.
So I had to actually tuck my knees in and roll and do that. And yeah, it was pretty bad.
It was a scary deal for him. And, most people, there's a lot of listeners right now listening all across the United States that have heard of an issue like this where they slip a disc or have herniation or have a bulging problem or sciatic pain or whatever that may be. And that's a scary deal. And most people go to their general practitioner for that. They say, hey, here's some muscle relaxers and some painkillers.
Right.
And that does absolutely nothing to fix the cause of the problem. it's like your check engine light being off in your car, and all you're doing is putting a piece of tape over the thing.
Yeah.
You know. Right. So Kane came to me. We ran a couple quick tests. I said, look, you've got a herniation bulge in your low back. You've got misaligned vertebra that we always talk about on the show. We call that a subluxation. That's irritating the nerve. We did a simple, easy treatment. We used spinal decompression on his spine, which is a phenomenal treatment, and it went from like a 10 to a 5, on the spot, which was good. But then we gave him some home remedies and things like that, and here we are a week later, and this thing's
right. And it's. I mean, I'm right at probably at 80 to 90%.
In a week.
In less than a week.
No surgery.
And because I actually went back to work on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was able to get through the day thanks to the compression belt, thanks to the electric stim, and all of that stuff.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. So, we're not out here just to toot our horn about, hey, we can help you get out of pain, we can help you fix problems. But we want people to know that there's options, man. Kane's options where he would either do what we do, which obviously works, find the cause, fix it, leave it alone, or support it if need be, or like
continue to be laid up.
That's right. Yeah. You're exactly right. Or he could go down that other route that we talked about with the allopathic doctors on the program not too long ago. We could either do a surgery that he didn't need, or we could give you a drug, and this is right out of that doctor's mouth. I can give you a drug that you're going to be addicted to in 2 weeks.
And that would have kept me. Here we are, less than a week, and I'm at 80 to 90%. With the drugs only, I'd be groggy and maybe 50% by now.
Yeah.
You wouldn't sound as good on air, Kane.
Right, well.
Unbelievable. So, hey, I want to say one more thing, because this lady, I promised this young woman, her name, I'm not going to mention it on the program, Anita, but you told me that I should talk about you. She's 76 years young. She's a very cool new patient of ours. Came into the office about a month ago because of some scoliosis, low back issues, and all this fun stuff. She stopped me in the office last week and said, hey, Doc, can I talk to you about something? I said, absolutely. What's the deal? She says, I want to tell you that back in 1994, I received chemotherapy and radiation treatment for some cancer. I'm like, all right, I'm listening. It's funny what patients tell you after the fact when you've been taking care of them, right? I didn't know.
Even though you've asked these questions
I've asked them,
in the survey.
So the deal is she says, have you ever heard of neuropathy? I said, yeah, we hear about it all the time. Yeah. So this lady's got, it used to be pins and needles feelings in her fingers, and then they would go numb. And she's 76 years young. And so she says to me, is there anything that you do chiropractically in your offices that could alleviate that? And I said, well, the adjustment helps restore the bodies to proper function and things start working. She goes, well, that's what I thought. I told my husband 2 weeks ago when that neuropathy pain went away that I knew it was from the chiropractor. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's a lot of people out there that are suffering that have this neuropathy pain where they feel like they're walking on pins and needles or their feet are numb. You ever sat on your like cross-legged before and got up and walked and you got that pins and needles? That's what some people feel like all the time. And there's a lot of rip-off treatments out there right now. Yeah. I mean, there's certain injections people are doing. There's electrical therapy. There's literally doctors that are putting ads in the paper that they're specific for treating neuropathy, and a lot of times they're not going after the cause of it. We have to go after it from a physical standpoint, a chemical standpoint, because nutrition's huge at that stuff, and then neurologically the body needs to be adjusted and put back together. If you can do that, man, things will just rock like crazy. So I just wanted to share that story. She begged me to bring that up. She said if I don't mention her name, she's going to call in and in until I get her on. So, hey, here's what I want to do. I want to bring in this guest who we've got with us today. We've got calling in a doctor who is just, man, this guy is a rock star. He is out just all over the world shedding and spreading the word on what life is all about and what health is all about and what chiropractic is all about. And if you want to get plugged in to some teachings of the dude who can just take your health to the next level, this guy who we've got on right now, Dr. Billy DeMoss, is the man when it comes to that.
Now, I follow him on Facebook, and I have so many questions for him because he's vocal.
I want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to do that. So we want to make sure that we get Dr. DeMoss's info tagged on our Facebook page and all that. So, Dr. Billy D, are you with us, brother?
I'm with you, bro.
Man, I am so honored and privileged to get you on this program. I know that getting you and I together is like pulling teeth out of an alligator, baby, but you got you here today, and that's awesome. So,
let me tell you, I got here like 2 minutes ago. I just got out of the water. I don't have a shirt on yet. I was going 90 miles an hour just to get to this interview, so dude, that's how awesome. Important you are, Dr. Eric.
Well, you know what? I had a similar story. My airplane, Dr. Billy just landed about, I don't know, probably 30 minutes ago, and for any St. Louis police officers that are listening right now, I made world record time getting from Lambert to the studio. So, Dr. Billy, listen, man, we've got 1.5 million things we can talk about.
Oh, God, we could go off for hours.
But the only problem is we don't have that much time.
Yeah, I figured.
So
I don't have that much time.
I know you don't, but here's
I'm going back to the beach as soon as we're done.
Which is beautiful, by the way.
Yeah.
I wish I could join you.
And the waves were phenomenal today.
So Doctor, let me just ask you this, man. So if we had just one limited amount of time, and let's just say that you were sitting in an airport with a person and you only had 20 minutes to explain to them, what life can be, how life is, how they can take it to the next level. Talk to me a little bit about your philosophy, your beliefs. Talk some chiropractic to me.
We just had a couple speakers here Wednesday night, and they were both women speakers, and okay. I've really been listening to kind of a maternal message, especially from this whole childbirth issue. And I was just surfing in the water, and I was talking to a guy that, his wife's pregnant, and he was saying she's going through all these mood swings and everything. And,
right.
And then we started talking about all the BS, how, even the whole birth process has turned into this medical emergency that needs the intervention by man, and then as soon as your baby's born, then we start sticking needles in the kids, and the whole cycle perpetuates. I think the first thing that people need to understand is we need to get out of the old school paradigm, which is drugs and surgery. I mean, that's what birth has turned into. It's now, we go against all the forces of nature and the cycles of life and the rhythms of life and, the phases of the moons and the tides. And we try to take something like the birth process and we control it with our, man-made forces with our drugs. And then when that doesn't work, we go in and surgically remove kids or surgically pull them out with forceps. And, that creates the whole, and then as soon as the baby's born, then we start sticking needles in them. And it's just, to me, I see this just major brainwashing by the American public. And it's just, one, we got to get them out of that boat, I think, importantly. And then once we get them out of that boat, we teach them that there's a power that God created when those two cells united, the sperm cell and the egg cell. There's an innate, infinite wisdom that God puts in your body that takes it from that one cell to 280 days later to 75 trillion cells in perfect order, perfect harmony. The body makes all the red blood cells, white blood cells, eye cells, nerve cells, and it's been doing that for eons. And we need to understand that power always wants us to be healthy, and when there's interference to that expression of life, that intelligence, that's when we become sick. And we as chiropractors remove that interference by removing spinal misalignments, subluxations, and allow the body to be at 100% of its potential. And then, I'm like, people, criticize me because I'm really big on teaching people how to eat right. As I always say, people call me like the hummingbird on crack cocaine because I've got so much energy at 55. Man. I run circles around people, and I'm still in the water surfing a shortboard with a bunch of kids, and
that's awesome.
It's because I take care of myself and I eat right and I don't watch TV and I don't, do stuff that's going to bring my vibratory tone. I don't hang around negative people.
Right.
It's all that stuff is what health is about. Health is about raising the level of vibration in people, and everything that we do in society lowers that vibration and just contains, number one, your creativity and your expression of self, but it also controls you and puts you into more submissive states where you're easily pushed in certain directions.
Yeah, you're absolutely
drugs.
Right. Yeah.
I could go on and on.
And we're going to. As a matter of fact, after we come back from this short break, we're going to get into, I want to ask you some pivotal questions.
I like when you ask me questions.
Well, we're going to do that, brother. We're going to come back. I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to get real quick with people.
Okay. Can your peeps hang?
Oh, yeah, our peeps will be hanging.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
And we're going to make sure we let them know how to find you on Facebook and find us as well.
Yeah, find us on Facebook, Nepute, Nepute Wellness. I'm going to link Dr. Billy D's Facebook on there as well.
Yeah, so hang tight. We'll be right back with Billy DeMoss.
Where can I find a woman? Where can I find a woman like that?
Wellness Matters with Dr. Eric Nepute. Talk lines are open now at 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797. This is Wellness Matters with Dr. Eric Nepute.
Well, hello, welcome back to Wellness Matters. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Nepute, and we have got calling us live from the beach in California. He just left his church, Ryan is what he calls it. He surfs every Sunday.
I see that.
Dr. Billy DeMoss, who is, like I said, a rock star in the health and wellness revolution, and just an honor and privilege to have him. So, we just got done talking a little bit with Dr. DeMoss about, some of the tidbits and pearls that he preaches and teaches in his paradigm and his world. But, Dr. DeMoss, I want to ask you a question.
Okay, one thing real quick.
Go ahead, please.
I go to church every day.
Do you, brother?
Just
That's
not
awesome.
Sunday.
Just not
I
Sunday.
want to clarify that.
Okay, right on. So you literally are surfing every day?
Yeah.
Man, that is far out. That is awesome.
It's my exercise. It's my spiritual connection to God. It's my cleansing. It's my meditation all in one. And then it's the greatest form of exercise on the planet.
And you mentioned earlier that you're 55 years young still, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing. I know a lot of people that are listening right now that first of all, Ryan, they need to get on our Facebook page
For sure.
at Nepute Wellness.
Yep.
And then get on there and you got to follow and like Dr. DeMoss. I mean, the stuff that he's got is amazing. And you need to look at the pics of this guy because here's the thing. He's a lot more ripped up than I am, and I am not 55 years old.
I was just...
And a lot of people,
Dude, I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my life.
Well, it's not. That's because you're lucky, right? You must have good
yeah,
genes.
it's just luck.
And that's what a lot of people think, man.
No, I work really hard at it, man. I mean, it's a lot of work to stay in shape, and you got to eat right.
Of course you do.
Yeah, I mean, there's no magic. It's just you got to play by the rules. When
That's
you
right.
play by the rules,
Yeah, he has on his...
crap.
Yeah. Okay.
You're
It's
gonna,
all right.
you're gonna be an expression of whatever you eat. You are what you eat, and then you got to move. The problem is most people are so sedentary anymore, and we sit in front of a TV set and watch other people play sports when we should be out doing the same activities.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. So, because you totally hit on something that I totally want to get into is that, all right, so what would you say to the person who is at home right now? Because, listen, we've got over 250,000 people that are listening to this program and all over the United States, and there's tons of people that are listening. And a lot of these folks are listening to us because they want answers. They want to take their health to the next level. They want solutions. And, a lot of them are stuck in this paradigm that because the way that my mother was, my father was, my teacher were, whatever, their paradigm is they're going to have what those people had.
Right.
So what would you say to that person who's sick, disgusted, hurting? How can they start changing their life, and what should they do?
Well, first they've got to understand that there's universal laws that governs the universe, it governs life on this planet, and you've got to play by those rules to have an expression of health. The problem is most people, like I said, don't play by those rules anymore. We live outside of natural rhythms, outside the influence of Mother Nature, and most people, like I said, it's atrocious. I wouldn't even feed my pets the food that most people put in their mouths. I mean, I travel a lot, and I see what people eat. I mean, you look at people eating fried food and high fructose corn syrup and plastic food, and I try to teach people you should eat food that's why I have so much energy. All the food I primarily eat is mostly raw. It's still got energy and enzymes and minerals and vitamins to it, and that's what your body craves and needs to run this magical machine that God gave you. And when your body's running on full power, full energy, you're going to express health. There's no way you can't.
Right, sure.
And on top of that, if you're eating super healthy and you're getting all the high octane cleansing foods, because you should eat foods that clean your body out. Most people eat crap that clogs out. I mean, the average American has 25 pounds of stuff clogged in their colon. Right. They eat foods that clog their arteries, and then they don't move, and they wonder why we have all these health issues because they're constipated and they're obese. And it's so easy if you get back to eating right. And then as hunter-gatherers, God intended us also to move. We were supposed to go out and hunt and gather food. And even there's studies that show that the physical status of a hunter-gatherer was that of an elite Olympic athlete. I mean, so, yeah, you got to get off the couch, man. And it's not like 3 days a week, in my opinion. You should move every day. You should make some time in the day. And people tell me they don't have time. Well, it's a total crock. Yeah. Because if you do that stuff, your levels of efficiency and clarity and all these things that you do will propel you to be more successful and more efficient in whatever you do. So that creates more time for you to do this stuff. People can't believe the stuff I get done, all the different things that we got going on. It's only because of the fact that, I take care of my mental mind to allow me to allow this to happen.
So you're telling me that some of the things that you're doing and you'd say to folks is take some action. Let's start eating better, number one, getting the crud out of your diet. And listen, we're in the Midwest, Billy. This is the Corn Belt, so high fructose
Brother,
corn
I was
syrup.
just there.
Yeah.
I spoke there. I was in Oklahoma. Corn Belt, GMO corn. That's what they feed the pigs to fatten them up.
Well, let's
stuff.
talk about that. We actually just had on the show a little bit ago a conversation a few weeks back about, Monsanto is literally in my backyard right here.
Yeah.
And we're talking about these GMO things, and people are just, they're totally blind sheep to all this stuff that's going on. So give us a couple insights on this GMO thing. Tell me your thoughts on it.
Here, that's man playing God again. And whenever man plays God, let me tell you, there's not going to be a good outcome to it because Mother Nature always bats last.
Yeah.
GMO is the biggest, scariest, diabolical potential to destroy the balance on this planet that I can think of because, you're literally changing DNA and you don't know what the outcomes of changing that DNA is going to be in the long run, especially when you start, changing genes in fish and plants. And it's scary to me. Coming from a chemistry background and understanding the laws of genetics and biology, it scares me when we start messing with that stuff. And, like I said, I'm 55. I've lived a great life. But if you really care about your kids and their kids, your grandchildren, then you should get out. You should open your eyes up and look what's going on in the world. I was just at the beach and they were spraying the living daylights. I thought it was chemtrails again today.
Yeah.
People think this is just conspiracy theory. All you need to do is just open your eyes and see reality of what it really, really is in the long run. And it's hard to refute that this stuff is actually a reality.
Well, it is a reality. And if you look into it, there's study after study. If people are listening right now and don't know what GMO is, it's basically man-made food. It's genetically modified organisms, basically that you can make a tomato in the winter be 3 foot in circumference, which the way that, and Dr. DeMoss, you and I are talking about it, how we're supposed to eat as hunter-gatherers, and there's certain foods that come in certain seasons, and we're to eat those foods in those seasons, and this allows us to have strawberries in the winter, and they're as big as your head, and they're full of just, genetically modified man-made stuff. And then in the next breath, you hear things like, Dr. DeMoss, I don't know if you saw this, but I think it was Saturday at the AMA conference in Chicago, the AMA now dubbed obesity as a disease. So it's a disease.
Right.
So what does that mean?
What that does is just takes the responsibility away from the people that.
Oh, that's a great point.
Right.
You're right.
It's like diabetes. Diabetes isn't a disease. Diabetes is the fact that you're eating the wrong food. it's my grandfather died from it. I know.
Right.
And that's why I've been on this. Just terror to try to teach people, hey, you've got control of your life. Don't think just because you have this supposed disease that you don't have any, contribution to changing that. It's ludicrous to think that way.
Well, just wait. Now, I promise. So over the next probably 3 to 6 months, maybe even sooner, you're going to see a whole new slew of drugs now because now there's a disease. Obesity is now a disease. They're going to have so many pills and drugs that you can now take as a consumer that takes your personal responsibility out of the game. And, people will be losing a lot of weight, but you just wait. The side effects of those drugs are going to be astronomical. I don't know what they are yet.
Right.
But it's going to be killing people, and then there'll be another thing going on. Because it's man playing God, and we're not playing by the rules of the game, and nobody wins when they do that. Nobody does.
Nobody, except for the pharmaceutical companies.
Well, and they went big time.
And the cancer industry.
Well, I don't know if you saw this. Ryan was showing me there was a article that was just released. I forget who did it, but I know it was on naturalnews.com and a couple other places. That basically the gist of the article said that, and it was an AMA statement that said all. What was the deal about it? Foods and nutrition, Ryan. They said was all ludicrous.
Well, yeah, of course they down talk what they consider what they call alternative medicine, and the entire the whole article was just about how it's a complete waste of time, and they basically said you're killing yourself by looking in alternative therapies and not going, mainstream as they, consider it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, we talk about nutrition, we talk about foods, exercise. I know that you are huge in making sure that people's nervous systems are functioning properly. And when we come back in just a couple minutes, but before we do that, I know that you're real big into taking care of kids. You're a huge kid. You help a lot of
60% kids right now.
Well, I got a caller that's calling in right now, and I just saw what he's calling about. I want to answer this question real quick, so let me get Brad on line 2. Hey, Brad, it's Dr. Nepute.
Dr. Nepute, how you doing, sir?
Hey, good. How are you doing? What's going on with you guys?
Well, doing good. We're in the process of giving birth to our first child, and
yeah.
wanted to make
Okay,
sure that you were going to be able to, come in and adjust our little one like we had discussed previously.
So literally, like, you guys are in labor right now?
We're not quite in labor.
Okay.
We're on the way there. We're going to be there probably within the next 3 to 4 hours, I would think.
That's awesome, man. So congratulations. So this is your first baby girl supposed to be coming, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh, absolutely, man. We will. Okay, I tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do. So you're wanting to make sure that. So first of all, he called me on the radio to tell me about this, which is cool because I wasn't answering my cell phone. Brad, there's no question, man, that we will. You keep me posted. You let me know when the baby girl comes, and I'll come straight out there, and we'll give that girl her first adjustment, literally, minutes after she's born, and we'll come back talking about that after the break. So hang tight. We got Billy DeMoss on with us. We're talking health. We're talking chiropractic. Hang tight. We'll see you in just a minute.
Wellness Matters with Dr. Eric Nepute.
The world is a vampire sent to drain, secret destroyer.
Talk lines are open now at 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797. This is Wellness Matters with Dr. Eric Nepute.
All right, you're listening to Wellness Matters. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Nepute, and we've got the very distinct privilege and honor of talking to Dr. Billy DeMoss, who is literally listening to us or calling in from the beach in California.
I've been
He's
so
getting ready.
excited about him coming on the show.
Oh, man, we could have this. We could, I could talk with him for days.
I sit there and look at his Facebook page and his posts. Gosh, people get pretty passionate on these shows.
when you start talking about the truth, it's funny how the truth is perceived as controversial with so many people. You know what I mean? It's the reality. Man. We had
it's funny.
Billy D. We had Dr. Ted Corin on the program about 2 weeks ago, and we talked about nothing but vaccines the whole time. And he brought, the
big hoax called vaccines.
Oh man,
biggest scam on the planet. My God, people are brainwashed. Go ahead, though.
Yeah, hey, we laid it all out there with him, with his info, and we had, I can't tell you how many people we had call in, and
because you're shaking up their foundational thoughts on health. It's so ridiculously moronic, though. But go ahead.
It is moronic. Speaking of kids and the ideas that people have about health. Some of you that may have just tuned into us, I don't know if you heard this, but we had a caller call in who's actually, a patient of ours, and he's been a friend of mine for years. Brad is his name, and him and his wife literally are right now at the hospital. They're in labor. She's 6 or 7 centimeters dilated, and he's like, "Hey, I just want to make sure that we're still on for our plan of when we have this baby, you come out and adjust this kid right out of the gate."
Yep.
Many of you that are listening have seen on my Facebook page or on our website at Nepute Wellness. You can actually see the video of me adjusting my baby, our child. My baby girl, literally her first adjustment. We videotaped that, Ryan. That was an amazing deal. So, Dr. DeMoss, I know that your passion is in nutrition and lifestyle changing and exercise, but I want to talk about chiropractic. In my area, and of course it's all over the globe, but in regions there's different stigmas or paradigm thinking about chiropractic. Some people think it's only for neck and back pain. Some people say to me all the time, "I heard once you go, you got to go the rest of your life. I heard chiropractors are quacks. I heard that chiropractors kill people." Man, tell me about chiropractic. Why should people go? Why is it part of, literally, in my opinion, everyday life for people? Tell me about this.
Well, I mean, chiropractic's probably the least utilized true form of real health care, and it's only because, again, people have been brainwashed by AMA and been brainwashed by the media about the reality of what we do. I mean, reality is your brain talks to every cell in the body through the nervous system, and when there's a 100% communication, you're going to have 100% expression of the possibility for that body to be healthy.
Right.
No matter what food you feed it, no matter what exercise patterns, no matter what thought process. So again, it's the least utilized portion of real health care. So I try to get people to understand that, I mean, you go to all this trouble to take care of your teeth, man. I mean, your teeth, basically make you look good and they help you chew food. Other than that, but I get people to really understand if you take care of your spine, which houses that very nervous system that controls every function of life, including immune function, and the regeneration of cells and rebuilding of your body is all controlled by the nervous system. We should do everything that we can to make sure that that spine is properly lined up so we have that maximum expression of intelligence. But then it goes a step further than that. I mean, if you want to make sure you got that expression of life that flows over the nervous system, but the reality is the better you take care of your nervous system, the longer you're going to live, because most people's spines degenerate at an accelerated rate due to the fact that they have horrible, horrible posture, severe misalignment in the spine, which perpetuates the whole degenerative process in osteoarthritis, which just basically chokes off the nerves and causes people to go see Jesus a lot faster than they should.
You're right. Yeah.
No, I know I'm right.
I know you are. You're absolutely right. And that's what okay.
There's no room for argument on that.
There is no room for argument.
It's the truth.
It's a law, is what it is. It is the law.
It's called Wolff's Law, baby.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So here's what my question is. What can we do to help shift people's consciousness so that they understand the importance of spinal, we talk about spinal maintenance and proper alignment and reduction of subluxation, but it's all about just making sure that the wiring in the body is working like it's supposed to.
Right.
We're on this show every Sunday telling people about health and wellness. We're out in the community. We do tons of talks and lectures and workshops. But, people are so misinformed by the quote-unquote medical establishment who is on this pedestal who knows little to nothing about nutrition and what we do as chiropractors. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree with it.
So what would you say to someone right now who's listening that's considering chiropractic for any condition that they could be suffering from, not just neck and back pain? I mean, anything.
The reality is that chiropractic doesn't cure or treat any condition.
Beautiful.
What we really try to get people to understand is that when your body is functioning at more of its innate potential, 100% of its potential, your body's what treats the disease. I mean, we don't cure cancer. The body, lined up with the right foods, with the right positive thought, with the right exercise patterns, but most of all, with the proper nerve flow, is what cures the cancer. It's not me. I don't have anything to do with it.
Right.
I don't cure neck pain. I don't cure back pain. What I do is remove interference. I remove the cause of what's causing the pain, and the body heals itself. So people have to really truly understand that's what real chiropractic is.
That's right.
It's like we're trying to get the body to function at its optimum potential by removing that interference and turning up the juice, turning up the power, turning up that wisdom of life that created you from two cells, man. I mean, there's an amazing wisdom in that body, and if we can do everything we can do to harness that energy and allow it to express itself, then the body is going to express health. It's that simple.
It is that simple.
As B.J. Palmer said, it's as simple as that.
We always have the disclaimer on the show, and I always tell people at the talks is, listen, here's the deal. We don't treat heart disease, cancer, diabetes, strokes, whatever. We don't treat these diseases that you have. We treat the imbalances in your body, whether they're physical, chemical, or neuroemotional. And if we correct that, we help you as a team correct that and let your body function properly. Guess what happens? Those things can go away. And people call those miracles, but it's not a miracle. It's the way it's supposed to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, your body's supposed to express health,
It is, and that's what people say, things like, man, I don't even know what it feels like to be good. That's what most people, when coming to our clinics or our doctor's office, whatever you want to call your place, when people start to get on proper chiropractic care, they start putting the right foods in their diet, they start exercising, they start putting right stuff in their brain. They're like, man, I'm addicted to this, which is always one thing that people say. I heard once you start chiropractic, you have to go the rest of your life. And that's because you don't know what it feels like to feel good. To have to be 55 years old and to go hit a shortboard every day on the beach and to have more energy than you did when you were 25, that's supposed to happen.
Now, Dr. Billy D, one of the questions that I had was, is it getting harder to maintain a healthy lifestyle, though, just because of the fact of the environment that we live in, the foods that are available for us to eat just aren't as good as what they once were?
I think you just have to be more aware. I don't think it's really harder. I don't have a problem with the food. I don't have a problem with I'm really concerned about the quality of the water I drink.
Sure. And what do you mean by that, the quality of the water you drink, just for somebody listening?
I mean, the water that the municipal water supplies are all fluoridated, and it's got there's chlorine and toxic chemicals, and there's even pharmaceutical drugs in there. So it's got to be. You got to drink. I drink filtered water, which goes through reverse osmosis, then it's remineralized, and then it goes through a alkalizing machine to make it alkaline, which is what your body's supposed to be. And then we actually put it through a couple of vortexes that puts life energy back in it and some spiritual energy. I know it's trippy stuff, but, cheap insurance for me. And,
It works. It works.
It works, man. And people come in, and because we sell it in our office, and they get addicted to the water, but I think that's better than getting addicted to Diet Coke.
Yeah, absolutely.
That kills you.
Yeah,
People say that all the time. Well, I heard once you go to a chiropractor, you got to go to the restaurant. I heard the first time you drink a Diet Coke, you drink that the rest of your life for OxyContin.
Whatever drug it is. Yeah,
whatever. If whether you're like somebody, I told somebody I was addicted to surfing, and he goes, well, that's a pretty good thing to be addicted to, compared to being addicted to things like what other people are, like gambling or pornography or the TV set or whatever it is. I mean, getting addicted to something like chiropractic is something that's going to take you to just the precipice of health.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
like brushing your teeth, man. I mean, that's the way I look at it. I mean, you wouldn't go through. The problem is we all lead a sedentary, posturally destructive lifestyle where we sit all day and we work on computers, and then we have traumas like auto accidents, sports injuries, and those things have the potential to put your spine out of alignment. Now, if you care about your health, I would put it back in alignment. If you don't give a rat's fanny about, your health, then don't get it adjusted. I mean, what we do works, whether you want to believe it or not, because these are all universal laws. And when you can take somebody that's got no curve in their neck and put a curve back in, or they're subluxated in their low back, and you remove the subluxation, you're going to not only free up the nerves, but you're going to maximize the life of that spine.
Right.
And if you maximize the life of the spine, you maximize the life of the nervous system, and you basically create a longevity situation in that individual. So that's what chiropractic is.
That is. You're absolutely, and it's simple. It's as simple as that. It works if you work it. And I love the thing that I hear. I don't say all the time anymore, but I used to hear a lot more than I do now. Is I just don't believe in that thing. I don't believe in chiropractic. Whatever. My uncle's cousin's Bob's sister, who the pig farmer, told me that was bad for you. It's just like, where are you getting your information, people?
Right.
But then
it's just a common sense thing to me. I mean, if there's a bone out of alignment, you can. I take X-rays and I demonstrate the vertebrae out of alignment. Then let's see it put back in alignment. That's why I do pre and post X-rays.
Right.
We get dramatic changes on X-rays. But it's only when people follow through.
That's right.
It doesn't work if you're not going to keep your part of the program and be consistent and committed.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I've found is that common sense is not very common anymore.
No, it's not.
I think
you stole that from B.J. Palmer.
Maybe I have. Another thing that So here's the thing. We're going to come back from a short break. We got another maybe 10 minutes with Dr. DeMoss. So think about your questions you got for him. But I want to come back and I want to talk about kids and kids' health, because it is way easier to raise a healthy child than to fix a broken adult. And I know that you have a huge practice and you're like 60% kids. I want to talk about that when you get back. So anyone who's listening right now who has kids, grandkids, thinking about having kids, you don't want to miss this last segment that we've got.
Yeah, and follow us on Facebook. It's Nepute, Nepute Wellness on Facebook. We're right back.
All right.
Wellness Matters with Dr. Eric Nepute.
I grew up down an old dirt road in a town you wouldn't know. My pops picked the place up for $1,500 back in 1964.
Talk lines are open now at 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797. This is Wellness Matters with Dr. Eric Nepute.
All right, welcome back to Wellness Matters. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Nepute, and we have had the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Billy DeMoss for about the last 45 minutes, talking about everything from foods to nutrition to you name it. And What I want to do before we finish up our last segment here is I want to make sure, Ryan, that everybody can follow us, follow him, get more info, because, I get a lot of my knowledge and inspiration from him. And, they can go to our Facebook page. We'll tag him on there.
Yeah. If you go to Nepute, it's Nepute Wellness on Facebook, or just go to NeputeWellness.com. I'm going to tag Dr. Billy DeMoss because his page is awesome to follow. It keeps me entertained each day.
Yeah, it's great stuff, dude. I love it. And I just want to give a shameless plug, because I know we've got folks that have tried to call in, and I know people are asking questions about nutrition and probiotics, and yes, we know the answers to those, and we can help facilitate you to find the right doctor. You can either ask us on email, they can email us, or they can Facebook us with questions, or call the clinic. Call my office at 314-544-5600. If you're not in the St. Louis area, one of the deals that we will do is help you find a doctor who teaches and preaches what we do, all over the globe. I mean, we've got referrals for Spain and Italy and all over the place now. So anyway, last segment that we've got, Dr. Billy D, and here's what I want to talk about, man. I know that you bleed chiropractic. You help change people's lives. You have a huge high volume practice, and you see a lot of kids just like I do. We have I have patients that come in all the time, and they're looking at us like, well, what are all these little kids doing in here?
Right.
And so talk to me about kids' health. How does chiropractic and what you teach and preach jive with that?
It's so funny you say that, that people trip on it. It's like they look at me and go, well, why would a kid get adjusted? And then I look at them and I go, well, why would you stick a needle full of toxic chemicals in your kid? That's a better question.
Yeah.
You really have to understand that the birth process, intrauterine malposition, can cause the spine to be misaligned, subluxated. And, if you want the child, I don't get it. It's more important for kids to get adjusted than adults, because their spines are in their formative stages. The nervous systems are in their formative stages. And the body is developing dependent on that being properly aligned, and so it can express its potential. So everything from scoliosis. Scoliosis is the fact that the body's trying to adapt to 90% of scoliosis is due to the fact that the body's trying to adapt somewhere to subluxation in the spine,
right?
Caused from either birth trauma or trauma from learning to walk or whatever it is. And people always ask me, well, when did this happen? I go, well, could it happen? There's a multitude that happen through your life. Just the other day, I was out surfing and I just got worked, and I had some pretty significant neck trauma after that. Of course,
right.
Being in a chiropractic clinic, I got adjusted 2 times in that one day, and then I got adjusted 2 times the next day, and my body's back to healing to its capacity. But if you want your kids to express their potential, and it's so funny. People take them to all the violin lessons,
expensive private schools, everything,
and they do all this stuff, but then they leave the most important system out, which is the nervous system that controls hand-eye coordination and the ability for the body to hit a tennis ball or whatever. It's like, if you look at any of the professional athletes, they've all got chiropractors. We had Misty May Trainer at the Cal Jam last year, and she's 100% behind chiropractic because it's allowed her to stay at the top of her game for as long as that. I had the opportunity to surf in Tavarua with Kelly Slater, who's 11th-time world champion, 41 years old. He leads a chiropractic lifestyle. There's no second guessing this stuff. This stuff works, man.
Sure does.
And it's all, again, common sense. But kids. Why do you have to wait till you grow up to? That's the whole problem with people. They don't start looking at their health till it's gone.
Yeah, right.
It's ridiculous. It's like, they wait till they're swirling the drain, and then all of a sudden, now I'm going to start juicing, and now I'm going to start exercising, and now I'm going to get adjusted. And it's like, dude, you're too far down the drain already.
He just described me.
We're changing lives every day. We just changed our producer's life. He's now said he's going to live the chiropractic lifestyle. He's going to start juicing, exercising, surfing every day.
Absolutely.
Billy D, here's the thing that I find is that, a person is smart. We can sit down and I can explain this to a mother of 5 and she gets it,
It's called priorities. I'll tell you the answer already before you ask it.
Well, all right. then lay it out there. Because it is priorities and values. It is.
Right.
It is.
Right.
Why don't they get checked? Why don't they get it going? They don't understand it and they don't value it.
No, they understand it. I think a lot of people, it's a time issue for some people. And then the other big issue is obviously there's a financial issue with a lot of people. And some people would rather spend money on, a big screen TV or their trip to whatever. And the reality is then what happens down the road is then that they have their crisis, they have their emergency because they haven't done the things that they need to do to take care of their health. And then they have their full-blown symptoms and they're in crisis. And, then we patch them up and then they're back to their lifestyle again. That's not how it works. I mean, you can play that game as long as you want, but it's ultimately going to shorten your life in the long run.
You're right.
People really have to. I mean, I don't just work out when I hurt. I don't eat healthy when I'm starting to get fat. I do this stuff every day. There are things that you have to do to maintain health, one of which is chiropractic. Now, we wouldn't need chiropractors if we didn't sit all day.
Right.
I need to get adjusted because I'm bending over a table all day.
Yeah.
Whatever your job is, your occupation, if you're not a hunter-gatherer, then you probably need to do chiropractic. If you sit in a car, sit on a plane, sit in a chair, sitting to your spine is very, very significantly detrimental to the overall destruction of it. It's you look at people's backs on X-ray, and it's just like,
how do they get that? If people saw that, I know what you're getting to, Billy, is, man, when I look at someone on an X-ray, I'm like, oh, my gosh, I cannot believe you're even functioning.
Right.
And they come and they go, nah, my normal headache is no big deal. I get it every day.
Right.
Here's the other thing, too, is that you're talking about people living a lifestyle of, like, being sedentary and sitting in a chair. How about kids? They're like, well, my kids aren't sedentary, but how many times do they fall when they learn to walk? Or how many
about
times?
Kids today all looking at those little cell phones? I mean, I don't have a cell phone either. In fact, I was talking to Jane. I wonder when the big brain tumor epidemic's going to hit from cell phones.
Wow.
I guarantee it's probably going to be in the next decade.
Wow.
Because I think what's like cigarette smoking, it took like 30 years before that manifested. And just watch, man. There's going to be full-blown epidemic.
Well, the bottom line,
kids using them.
What we need more people less sick. That's one of the biggest problems that we have in this world. Is we need more people less sick.
Well, here's the deal. There are people that think the planet is depopulated. I'm here to help those people that don't want to be part of the whole.
You're right.
If you want to vaccinate your kids, go for it. I'm not telling you not to, but here's the reality. Here's the facts. If you don't want to take responsibility for your health, fine. There are too many people on the planet. In fact, I think a lot of what's going on in the world is natural selection, which is now based on people's intelligence levels and their capacity to grasp reality. I mean, because people that are dumbed down, they're going to get selected off the planet because of the fact that, if you've got diabetes and you're obese, we've got kids now that aren't going to live to the same age as their parents.
Wow. It's
scary
wild.
stuff,
It is scary, man. It's it's a joke is what it is, and it's just like my kids.
It's planned, bro. It's not a joke.
I get it.
It's
You're
all
right.
an agenda.
All right.
We don't have time for that.
No,
today.
we
We'll
don't.
talk
As a
about
matter
it
of fact,
next time.
I tell you what, let's do, because we literally have 2 minutes left on this program.
Okay.
So I want to sing your praises and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk with us, to take a little break out of your church session. I want to get you back in the future. We'll coordinate times. We'll get your peeps with my peeps. People need to know this info, and we're going to get Dr. DeMoss back on the program.
Sure.
I want to make sure everybody is following him on Facebook.
Yeah, that would be great.
Where else can they find you, man? What other what's your website?
I have a Facebook DeMoss ChiropracTIC,
Right.
which is a little more toned down than Billy D page.
Yeah.
I like the Billy D page.
Well,
Yeah,
they can
the
go to
Billy D
both.
Page I'll put stuff on there, and I'll watch my likes just drop because you go against the grain of people's paradigms. And,
Truth is controversial.
Well, thanks
the thing is, if you tell the people of the world that the world's round, and they still want to grasp the fact that it's flat,
You're right.
You're going to shake their foundation. It's like, whoa.
Hey, but you know what? I want to give you props because somebody taught me years ago that if you're not agitating or upsetting at least 10% of the population, you're not doing your job right. And I know that you got at least 20 to 25% of the population.
Right.
So kudos, man.
I can't say it on the air.
Well, listen, I want everyone to follow Dr. DeMoss. Follow us on Facebook. Please, I know today that a lot of folks called in and have lots of questions, so get to our Facebook page and you can email us there. If you have questions for Dr. DeMoss, ask him. If you're out in California...
just leave a message on my Facebook page.
Cool.
Too. I'm more than open to it.
And Dr. DeMoss is just like us. We're here to serve.
Right.
Our purpose is not to just plug us and promote us. It's to take this awakening in this community to a totally new level of health and prosperity. And whoever wants to go, let's do it. Whoever doesn't, get out of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So listen, we're wrapping this thing up. Billy D, enjoy the rest of your day, man. Get some good waves out there. You and I will be talking soon. Anything we can do to help you in the future, let us know, man. This is beautiful.
Yeah, Cal Jam, though, right?
Absolutely. We're going to come to Cal Jam. We're going to promote the heck out of that.
I'm holding you to it now.
All right, I'll be there. And hey, you know what? We'll promote the heck out of it in the Midwest for you.
Yeah,
we'll do it.
We will.
All right, guys. So I just want to say phenomenal show, man.
Yeah,
awesome
gosh.
having Billy
Wish
D
we had
on.
longer.
Listen, next Sunday, 3 p.m., we're going to be talking more about health, wellness, prosperity, how to take your life to the next level. So remember, above all things, wellness matters. We'll see you all next week.
Of angels sweet. He called my name and my heart stood still when he said, John, go do my will. Go tell that long-tongued liar. Go and tell that midnight rider. Tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter. Tell him that God's gonna cut him down. Tell him that God's gonna.
Get more at 971talk.com.